Going to take a look now at document C for lesson 33. It's really important that you do these in order, and that way you will have a solid case or argument as to why Gettysburg was a turning point. You just need to make sure you get all the documents done, really. To whom and on what dates did Robert E. Lee write each of these letters? Okay, well, let's take a look at these letters first. They are down here. And our sources say excerpts from 2 letters written by General Robert E. Lee to Confederate President Jefferson Davis. Okay, so the date of the letters is going to be important. And the first one says, "It is believed that the enemy suffered severely in these operations, but our own loss has not been light. General Barksdale is killed, General Garnett and Armstead are missing, General Pender and Trimble are wounded in the leg, General Hood in the arm, and General Heath slightly in the head. General Kemper, it is feared, is mortally wounded. Our losses embrace many other valuable officers and men. Very respectfully, your obedient servant, R. E. Lee, General." Okay, this is like a day after the Battle of Gettysburg, and he's saying the enemy lost a lot of people, and here's all the leaders and people that I've lost. A month later, okay, he's writing the president again. "Your letters of July 28th and August 2nd have been received, and I have waited for a leisure hour to reply, but I fear that none will come. I have seen and heard of expressions of discontent in the public journals at the result of the expedition. The expedition he's talking about is going up into the north and what ended up being the Battle of Gettysburg. That's the expedition he's talking about. I therefore, in all sincerity, request your excellency to make measures to supply my place, replace me." Okay, so Lee is asking President Jefferson Davis to replace him as the commander of the Confederacy, the commander of the Confederate forces in Virginia. "I do this with the more earnestness because no one is more aware than myself of my inability for the duties of my position. I cannot even accomplish what I myself desire. How can I fulfill the expectations of others? With sentiments of great esteem, I am very respectfully and truly yours, R. E. Lee, General." All right, so Lee is saying, I can't get anything done, and I'm not in good shape to do this job, and if I can't get what I want done, how could I possibly even get what other people want done? Because it's not possible. And what Lee here is facing is the reality that he is vastly outmatched and outgunned by the Union. And the thing that's allowed him to keep his army together is that the North has just a string of terrible generals who are really slow and aren't attacking the Confederacy very well. He escapes Gettysburg because General Meade doesn't pursue him right away. General Meade just kind of wanders around after him, lets Lee get a 4-day head start or something like that, and General Lee and the rest of his army gets away when Meade, the commander of the Union Army, could have tracked him down. So, matters of fact, make sure you know who he's writing to and what the dates are. What are public journals and why did Lee mention this to him? He's talking about the newspapers. Okay, journals was another term for newspapers back then. Like the Wall Street Journal, right? That's a newspaper today, and it holds that old title of journal. Now journals are generally used a little bit different. The name not usually doesn't refer to a newspaper, but it still is known to refer to newspapers. In the second letter, what were the expectations that Lee had been able to meet? Okay, so make some inferences there. What do you think was the expectation of Lee when he went north on that expedition, right? His purpose was to capture Washington, D.C. Did he meet those expectations? Why might some people feel like he let them down? How do these letters suggest that Gettysburg was a turning point in the war? Explain. So these letters give us evidence that Gettysburg was a turning point because of how they affected Lee mentally, right? He no longer feels fit for his job. And I would also say it's a turning point because of the first letter. Look at what happens to important people in the first letter here, and draw a conclusion about that. You know, so many generals killed. How might that have affected the Confederate Army? And also, he failed to capture Washington D.C. So you know that's another reason why it's a turning point, because Lee's going to have to go on the defensive from here on out. He's no longer able to go on the offensive